Well, it was hailed as one of the critical technologies needed to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions while guaranteeing the future of coal-fired electricity. But carbon capture and storage, or CCS, has so far failed to deliver. Blame is being attributed not only to the government but also to the very industry which has the most to gain, the coal industry. Margot O'Neill reports.
Few unproven technologies have had as much hype as the one promising to strip carbon emissions from coal-fired power stations and store them underground, known as carbon capture and storage, or CCS.
Australia must aspire to be a world leader in clean coal technology.
We do not have any more time to waste.
This technology isn't pie in the sky. It's all proven in the lab or in other parts of industry.
But after 2 decades, there's still no sign of clean coal. Not one industrial-scale CCS facility at a coal-fired power station anywhere in the world. In fact, a series of large projects have been recently cancelled or suspended. Australia's biggest project in Queensland, known as ZeroGen, fell over in December because of a lack of suitable underground storage and escalating costs. Part of the problem is lack of industry money. In 2006, the Australian Coal Association launched a 10-year, $1 billion CCS fund. But nearly 6 years later, it spent just $126 million.
I think it is disappointing so far what's happened with industry, and all I can do is look at the coal industry here. At least they put $1 billion forward as the amount of money they were going to put into this, but they've not actually got round to spending that, and that's the disappointment.
One of the world's leading CCS experts, Dr. Peter Cook, is about to step down as head of Australia's CO2 Cooperative Research Centre. After 13 years advocating CCS, he told Lateline the technology is now reaching crisis point.
There's no question we're at the crossroads when it comes to CCS. Time is not on our side.
Many investors have now lost interest in CCS, according to a senior mining expert from the international law firm Norton Rose.
Global sentiment is shifting away from CCS investments. I've seen estimates in the trillions of dollars for the cost for retrofitting most of the world's coal-fired power generation. It does seem clear that there is more concern as to its viability.
Coal Association Chief Ralph Hillman says small pilot projects have been testing the technology, like this storage site in Victoria. The big dollars will flow when industrial-scale plants are finally built. Originally targeted for 2015, he now predicts this will happen by 2020.
It is our top priority. And the Australian Coal Association, in its present form, was established in the year 2000 specifically to drive the development and demonstration of low-emission coal technology. So it's still our number one agenda item.
It's now 2011 and you've spent exactly $126 million. How can you say that it's your top priority?
Well, the money is being put where it needs to be put. You can, I suppose, have a view that you should just be throwing billions at this as fast as you can, but in fact it doesn't work that way. When you're doing demonstration projects, they are in fact quite small.
At the end of the day, we've just got to get large-scale projects underway, and it's a concern that we're just not doing that.
The federal government has also allocated very little of its $1.68 billion CCS flagship program, just $172 million, and approved just one project.
It is a concern to me that after 2 years, we don't actually have too much in the way of decisions.
This money is sitting there, not yet even spent. So the $1.6 billion you mentioned could, in the end, not even be spent at all.
The International Energy Agency says the world will need more than 3,000 CCS plants by 2050 because of accelerating emissions from India and China. That will mean building a CCS plant every 4 or so days from 2020. But without even one successful large-scale demonstration plant right now, that target looks impossible. One large-scale CCS on coal plant could cost $4 or $5 billion. So far, the government has sought matching funds from industry and state governments.
It believes the carbon tax will help drive investment, but industry is opposing the tax and believes taxpayers should bear most of the financial burden of proving the technology.
Well, come back to the Productivity Commission report and former Prime Minister Rudd's own clear statement that this was a matter of national interest. It was not a matter you leave for the coal industry or the power generating industry. The coal resources of Australia are the property of the Australian people. You know, it is not the responsibility of the coal industry.
You end up with a crazy game of ping pong where everyone just bats the ball backwards and forwards and we don't actually get anywhere. And what's required is both clear advocacy and political leadership from government, but also then the investment that has to come through from industry. And until we find the right conversation for that, then I think that paralysis is going to continue for some time yet.
Margot O'Neill, Lateline.